We have this wide open space here between the industrial area and this new neighborhood we made. We're going to see if we can fill it in entirely with a farming area. Welcome back to Theotown, of course, as we continue our Albion online inspired build of the city of New Albion in the general vicinity of Limhurst. Build just a nice little smattering of little roads. And then we'll go to the tree menu and we'll make some lines of trees. So I think in farm areas it's quite normal to have lines of trees for wind breaking purposes. There we go. And I think we will, we're going to remove all of the other trees because we don't need tall trees obstructing the line of sight. Okay. Excellent. We're probably going to have to wait for that zoning to actually fill in because I don't think I really have a lot of demand for industrial areas. While we wait for that, we'll come out over this way and expand our residential neighborhoods. We'll come all the way out here to this peninsula and build a little seaside town. Today I was thinking about loyalty and the important role it plays in our lives. In life, we build relationships of different sorts, and we have to make an effort to do what's right for ourselves and for others. And I think that it's important to remember that you can't really make free choices and decisions if someone else has a lot of leverage in your life. Because if you're worried about whether you're going to be able to keep your lights on and have a roof over your head, then you're probably going to be pretty inclined to do what you're told to do, and you won't really want to take any particular risks, because why would you put your neck out for somebody else if you're not sure if you're going to be able to make it through, you know? I think we all want to believe that we'd do the right thing and we'd be faithful under fire and we'd be loyal and all those sorts of things. But we all have a breaking point, and if you really want to be able to be neutral and objective and fair and not a person that would do the wrong thing because of convenience, got to learn to always consume less than you produce. You've got to learn to be, I guess, a little bit conservative in the way you live, because that's really the only way. When people don't have any leverage on you, when you could quit your job and you'd be fine. When you figured these things out, it's a lot easier to say, here's what I stand for, here's what I believe, and I'm gonna do what I think is right, because I'm not really worried about any particular consequences or ramifications of it. I think that's important, and I think we quite often sell out our values for a paycheck, and people wind up treating others poorly and doing things that aren't very kind or aren't very accommodating, and the reason why they do it is because they know they don't really have a choice. It's either you're going to do what your boss tells you to do, or you're going to be destitute and lose everything. And just learning to be free from that is very liberating. Maybe it's learning to live with fewer things, being less materialistic. Maybe it's having a bit of a nest egg set away, so you're not really worried about whether you keep your job or not. These are things, I think they're very important, because if you can't afford to walk away from a job, then ultimately you really are a slave of whoever's your employer. I think that's why there's such an abundance of opportunities out there for people to go into debt and to sort of become slaves to the system, because maybe you have the nice new car and you have a nice home and you have all sorts of things which are pretty good. On the surface, it's pretty good. You look like you have a good quality of life, and yet if you do what you actually believe you ought to do, you're going to be the first one to lose your job over it, potentially. So how free are you really? Because all you are is just one threat away from betraying the people you care about, if that's how it is. I think we say it a lot. There's people who say, I would, of course, be there to be true and faithful to my friends and the people in my life that I value and that I love. But you realize it's kind of like that Bible story of Peter and Jesus. He was faithful and loyal as a follower until Jesus was in trouble, and then someone said, hey, don't you know Jesus? You were with him. You hang out with him all the time. Peter suddenly said, oh, I don't know who he is, you know. And what kind of a friend are you? I think that's something that's important to think about. You know, you really can't. You can't have any right to say that you're someone's friend or that you care about them if you're absolutely unwilling to risk anything to take a stand for them. And maybe that's why it's good to have rather few people that you're close to in your life, because you just if everyone's special, then no one's special, you know. So it's better to invest in quality for a few things than in quantity for all things. But you really can't do great things if you can't learn first how to be free to have your own agency and to be able to take a stand for who you are without being defined by the most recent thing that others want you to be. And being free of the leverage of other people is probably the surest form of actual freedom, because you can have things and you can have money and you can have all sorts of status, but what does it really mean if you don't have a right to have your own identity? Isn't it, in a sense, all for nothing then? And I think we tend to quantify value in terms of lavish things. But the truth is, freedom is itself enough of a reward to be a reason worthy of sacrifice. Don't be a fair weather friend that's there to take the side of people who you value in your life, but only when there's no risk, only when there's no need for you to put anything on the line. Be the consistent person who is there in good times and in bad times, and demonstrate that loyalty. I think that's important. I think it's probably a bit rare, because we do live in a time when most people enjoy the benefits of appearing to be loyal to something greater than themselves, but they really, in truth, don't ever actually put themselves out there, really. They always stay safe. You know, it's like the people who always have something bold and daring to say on Facebook about whatever's going on in politics, but first opportunity for them to actually go out and take a stand for that thing, when they have to come out from behind the computer screen, then suddenly they don't actually have any conviction at all. Well, if that's who you are, then you might as well just have no conviction at all, because your conviction doesn't matter, because it's all just fluff and nonsense that lasts for only as long as the only thing you have to put up is talk. Be a genuine person. Doesn't mean that you do great and crazy, amazing exploits. It's just you keep your word. And if your intent is to be true to someone or something, then be true to it, whether it's convenient or not. It's just that simple. Well then, it looks like we have had our little talk. We've added a little beach town here. It's very nice. We've expanded our farmland. Our city is starting to grow quite large and prosperous looking here. We have our 3 large skyscrapers, and our inland waterway is starting to look a bit more populated. It'll be interesting to see what this map looks like when we're all done and it's filled up. I wonder why this person is unhappy. I guess we'll blow up their house and we'll replace it with a little park, because parks make people happy. Meanwhile, more skyscrapers are coming up here. High rises. I've always thought it's amazing how many high rises there are in the big cities in Asia, and in America you don't have anywhere near as many. We think we have skyscrapers, but really we don't. Nothing compared to what it is in a place like China or Hong Kong or something. All right, and we have unlocked a new building. Oh, look at that! It's a funny looking building. I think that's a real building in China or something, isn't it? Well, why don't we just go ahead and plop it here? We're going to do that. We're going to call that our final act of business for this video. We're going to go ahead and build that tower there. Matter of fact, let's build another bridge, because as our city grows, imagine people would want another bridge. That seems appropriate. There we go. Well, that new tower will be there next time we play. Until then, thank you very much for watching.